Hey, it's Sarah. I'm gonna be talking about tips for incoming freshmen for college. The first thing that I recommend is going to office hours when you're needing help with a class. Um, I feel like office hours is very important, especially if you go to like a big college or if you're struggling with the class. Office hours is really helpful because professors are willing to help you. Doesn't mean they're gonna be chasing after you if you don't understand it material, but if you do go to office hours, they will be willing to help, and they do appreciate when you do go to office hours because it shows that you are making the effort to learn in class rather than just like not really caring at all. So the second tip that I'd like to give you is do not skip class. It's not really recommended that you do that because the more material that you miss, the more likely you will be behind in material. So it's up to you if you do. If you're very sick and you cannot go to class and you must skip class, then I guess that's understandable. If you have like a stuffy nose or if you're just lazy to get up in the morning, then I guess that's up to you. Don't be a disruption in class. So like talking during class while the teacher's lecturing or talking back to a teacher, that's not recommended because chances are they will escort you out, and so just don't do that. And some teachers don't like it when you are on the phone. Yeah, it's college, you're adult, but it's like at the same time it's seen as rude when you're texting in class because you're not only distracting yourself but you're distracting the students around you, so just keep that in mind. Here to take good notes when the professor is lecturing. So a lot of times professors will have PowerPoints, and so some of the main points in the PowerPoint will most likely be on the material, whether it's a test or quiz, but usually the stuff that the professor is lecturing is what's the most important thing. So if you're a good note taker, it's really important to take down those notes. Don't always rely on the PowerPoint or the books that the class, I guess, is. So number 5, Number 5, when searching for a class to register, I think personally ratemyprofessor.com is key because you could see whether a professor is a good teacher, and to see if the class that you're taking is hard. When I took my history class, I did not take the initiative to look up Rate My Professor because I didn't know about it. I was only a freshman, so I didn't really know much about it. So I kind of made the mistake of taking that history class, even though history was a requirement. Number 6, if you're taking a class that is hard, try to link up with someone in the class that is doing a lot better. That's pretty straightforward. If you know someone, or if you see someone that's doing a lot better in the class, if they have an A in the class, or even a B, especially if that class is hard, then it's good to talk to that person. It doesn't mean you have to be friends with them. You just say, hey, I need some help. Do you know this? Because I don't get this, and then I'm pretty sure they'll be more than happy to help you. Number 7, before a big exam or finals, try to form a study group. Like I said, if there's some people that understand the material that you may not understand, and you may understand some things that they may not understand, so it's good to form a study group, so that way you could exchange information and be, I guess, better to study that way. And number 8, obvious, is just pay attention in class. It really helps. It doesn't really take that much. Even just listening to the lectures, taking notes, and being present, and not only just taking notes and being present in class, but also participation is also key for some professors. If you don't talk in class at all, then that can really affect your grade because class participation is key. Number 1, for dorm supplies, don't go crazy for decor, like decorations, like putting a bunch of frames and posters. You can always do that later. Just try to get the basic stuff like your bedding, storage, mattress, cleaning supplies, like those basic stuff, and then later on you could worry about that. Just try to figure out what your room looks like, what the layout is. Obviously a regular layout is bed and a desk. For textbooks, personally, I like renting just because it saves money, because a lot of times when you buy textbooks, you first of all pay a lot of money, and then when you return the textbooks, you only get not even half the price you pay for it. So let's just say you buy like a $150 textbook for calculus, and then you return the book and you only get like $15. When you're buying your textbook, just email your professor beforehand to make sure that the books that they require that you're actually going to use the textbook, so that way you won't buy a textbook or rent a textbook for no reason and you have to return. Invest in a good working laptop. Obviously, you do need a laptop when you go to college just because it's a lot more convenient. I mean, yeah, you can use the school's computer, but who wants to do that? So, invest in a good laptop if you can afford it. You don't have to buy a super expensive laptop, just something that you could write notes in. And if you can, invest in a printer. Some schools, I don't know what your school, my school, we get printing money in a little card, and sometimes it can be expensive when you're printing a lot of papers, because sometimes when I'm printing like a 20-page paper, not necessarily on an essay, sometimes essays, but if I'm just printing like a study guide and it will end up being 32 pages, that shit adds up. So I'd rather just invest in a printer. I mean, yeah, you have to buy ink, but you can buy a bulk at Costco or BJ's, and sometimes you could run out of printing money if that's all you use. Plus, it's more convenient, especially when you're the type of person that likes to work in your room and you don't want to go to the library. You just plug in your computer and just print out your stuff, and that's it. Sometimes it's late at night and I'm printing out my documents. I don't want to go to the library to print out this one page. So for roommates, so the one thing you should always do when you have a roommate is respect boundaries. Respect boundaries. Don't be that asshole that just takes their stuff or takes your roommate's stuff without permission. I know I don't like that shit. I've actually had problems with that, which I'll talk about in another time. But respect your boundaries. When you first meet your roommate, always be willing to keep a conversation. Even if you don't have a lot in common with your roommate, but don't be an asshole. Just make a conversation, even if it's just a simple hello, how are you, how is your day going? It doesn't have to be like a full-blown conversation, but at the same time, just don't be a jerk. If you do get along with your roommate, even if you guys are best friends, always be that person that likes to ask. Even if they say, oh, you can take anything, that's fine. Like, just be that person to always ask, because sometimes they might be in a bad mood and you take something from them and they be pissed off. Personally, if you're a good friend of mine and we get along, I don't really give a shit if you use my stuff, just put it back, because that's one thing that'll irritate me, if you don't put things back the way they were, because I know I'm a neat freak. I like putting things the way they were. Like, if you find something and you use it, put it back the way it was. That's all I ask. They don't always have to be your best friend. Like I said, it's good to be cordial, but if your roommate, you guys don't not get along, if you guys don't have a lot in common, you don't have to be best friends. I mean, you could be cordial. Yeah, it might be a little bit awkward when you guys are just coexisting, but it's not really a big deal, so. But if you do have roommate problems, it's always good to talk to them first. Like, something simple like if they're borrowing your stuff without permission, or if they're bringing guests while you're trying to do your homework, or if they're being loud while they're trying to do your homework. Just, do a simple thing like, hey, I don't really like it when you do this, or it's okay, you could do that instead. Just be nice about it. Don't be an asshole, man, unless if the problem persists, then yeah, I guess you can be, a little bit assertive about it, but you don't really need to have a fight over little things. Now, if the problem persists, then that's when either you become assertive and say, hey, I think this is not okay, or if it keeps persisting, or if a big fight, goes about, or if the situation that you're in is really bad, and if you really cannot stand your roommate and you must get out of the situation, then it's good to talk in an RA, because if you have the type of roommate that's not willing to compromise, not willing to talk, have a civilized conversation, then I guess it's best to either move out or have them move out if they're the one who's causing all the problems. And last, if you don't get along with your roommate from the beginning, like from the moment you've, moved in and you don't have good vibes for them, always be willing to be cordial, but be cautious. Always keep an open mind. Don't be afraid to branch out in your comfort zone. So that awkward girl that you were in high school, if you were quiet, that's over now. You're in college. No one knows who you are. So I'm not saying to not be yourself, but don't be afraid to branch out and talk to people and I guess join someone in a lunchroom and start a conversation, because I'm pretty sure people will respect you for that, and people will see you as outgoing, because I know I did that my freshman year of college, where, because I know in high school I wasn't really that shy, but there was a lot of people that considered me as shy, when in reality it's not I'm shy, I just didn't like you. But in college, I know that I wanted to change myself, not necessarily for the bad, like trying to be rebellious or anything, but actually for the good, talking to people, not necessarily trusting people right away, but, being open armed to say, hey, what's up, like, I'm cool to talk to, and that's what I did. I mean, yeah, these friendships didn't last long, but I don't regret doing that, just because, I guess it's a good thing. I know there were some people that I talked to in the beginning of high school, in the beginning of my year as a freshman, and I had a blast. And I still talk to these people because of that. So leave your high school past behind, meaning no one gives a shit if you were an honor student in your senior year, if you were a valedictorian. Like, when you're in college, you're gonna meet a bunch of valedictorians, you're gonna meet a bunch of honor students. No one gives a shit if you were popular, no one gives a shit if you were bullied, everyone was bullied. I mean, this is college. That's all I know I keep saying this, but it's a different world. So you're just gonna have to let that past go behind. If you go to college with the same people that you went to high school with, if you never get along with them, doesn't mean you have to talk to them in college either, because I know there are some people in my high school that I really did not like, and they're in my college right now, and I don't have a problem ignoring them, because it's like, why should I talk to you now? It's like, before you didn't want to talk to me, so why should I talk to you now? And there are also some people that I was friends with that are in my college now, and I still talk to them because, they were cordial with me in high school, so I should be cordial with them. But it's all up to you. If you feel like you need to completely leave your high school past behind because you had a really bad experience, then that's all fine. Not to say that you have to leave your high school friends, because there's some people that I still talk to from high school, and I don't have a problem with that. Don't wear your high school t-shirts. I don't know. Me, that's a big pet peeve, because you're going to a new university, but yet you're still wearing your high school t-shirt. I know everyone says this, but be yourself. I mean, yeah, just because you're branching out to people, but doesn't mean you have to change yourself completely, like, just to fit in, because chances are people will see that and think that, I think this girl's being a little bit fake here, or being a phony, because no one gives a shit how you dress. There are some people who wear high heels to class, and some people wear flip-flops to class, and people wear slippers to class. No one gives a crap what you wear. No one gives a crap if you're a nerd, if you're stupid. I mean, yeah, like, no one cares. Like, just like I said, just be yourself. You don't have to be all this, this different person just because you're in college. I mean, it's good to change over the course of the years or as you're growing older, but just keep in mind, if you're a quiet person, you don't have to be all, loud and about, because chances are people will catch on that you're just faking, and people don't like that. Don't be judgmental. I'm a little bit guilty of this myself, because I know there are some people that I've seen that will dress a certain way, and I just automatically just judge them like that. Because someone dresses a certain way where they kind of dress, sluggish, or, don't look well put together, or look like a stoner, doesn't mean that they're not intelligent, doesn't mean that they're not cool to talk to, when they're actually could be the coolest person you could ever talk to. So leave that judgmental stuff in the past if you were that type of person back then, because like I said, I'm guilty of that, and I'm learning to not judge people. Although I am open arms, but sometimes I still kind of have this judgmental thing until I actually get to know a person, because I know there's some people that I've thought that were mean people, and I thought she looks like a bitch, but in reality, they're one of my coolest friends. So. And last but not least, smile. I know I'm not smiling in this video right now. I don't like smiling, but always smile, especially the first day. You don't want to look like you have a resting bitch face, and then people's gonna literally think like you're a bitch. I know, like, a friend of mine, she looks a lot older than her age, and people thought she was scary, when in reality she's the nicest person. Always smile, because it just looks presentable, and you look a lot friendly. That's all I can say about that. That is my tips for incoming freshmen in college. I will probably do a part 2. Hopefully I will come up with more tips. Other than that, I'll see you guys soon.